we are conditioned and programmed to think that way, that it's not being a great mom if you care for yourself. And I think it starts when you become a mother. We have people that teach you how to care for your baby, but there's nobody coming in and say, you need to care for yourself.
This is how you care for yourself.
Yes.
Also. Yeah.
How do you want this motherhood journey to be for you? Nobody comes in and starts asking us those kind of questions and showing us that it's normal and it's supposed to be the way to embrace, motherhood, or to think about motherhood.
Welcome to the Momship Mastery podcast, the ultimate destination for moms seeking balance, connection, and growth in their journey through motherhood. I'm your host, master's level therapist and life coach, Andrea Baker. Here at the Momship Mastery, we believe that motherhood is a purposeful journey filled with discoveries, challenges, and countless opportunities, from self-care strategies to relationship building, from spiritual growth to parenting insights. I've got you covered. So if you're ready to embark on this journey with us, hit that subscribe button and let's explore the world of motherhood, relationships, and growth together. Remember, you're not alone on this journey, and we're here to support you every step of the way. All right. So we are welcoming Tessia to our podcast today. How are you?
I'm great, and I'm really happy and honored to be with you today and sharing my story.
We're excited to have you. You're an author, you're a mom, you do so many things, and we just can't wait to get into it. So kind of just tell everybody a few things about yourself.
Yes, of course. So my name is Tessia Watson. I am French, currently living in London. I am the mother of two boys, now currently 11 and 10 years old. And I am the author of the book called Rejuvenated Moms Make Happy Kids.
Rejuvenated Moms Make Happy Kids. I mean, that's a mouthful there, because I definitely can attest to that. A lot of moms that are like, my kids are just not doing well, I often kind of check in to see how they're doing first. I'm like, well, how are you? Right? Because a lot of times when we're dealing with things like burnout and just the struggles of motherhood, that can ultimately affect our kids' behavior. What do you think about that?
Yes, definitely. The children, they just learn, through imitation. So what they're seeing in front of them. And so if they notice that mom is really, taking care of herself, she's really doing the thing that she likes, and obviously she cares for us and she's always here and present and supportive, then they will tend to grow and be as adults the same. They will be aware that it's really important to, take time for yourself or care for yourself. And it's not because you do that it means that you're neglecting your children or you're not there for them. As long as they feel secure wherever they are and loved, if you take some time for yourself, but you know that they are in very good hands, everything will work out for the good, So it's really important. And I think it's a very important message to your children. And it just helps you as a mom to just be more, happy, present, calm as well. So it's just a topic that we don't talk much about it. What do you think?
Exactly. And you said a word that really stood out to me. You said awareness, like just increasing that awareness of if they can see that mom is taking care of themselves, and if they can see that mom is really in tune with herself and when she needs a break, and in tune, she's more in tune also with us, right? So just that awareness. And I don't think a lot of times we as mothers don't initially have that awareness that it's okay. There's a lot of guilt associated with needing self-care or needing a moment or needing a break, when if we had that awareness that it's not only okay, but it's necessary, right? It's important. It's like key. It's not an option, but it's needed. Like you have to have that balance in motherhood.
Yes, I definitely agree. And what happened is we are conditioned and programmed to think that way, that it's not being a great mom if you care for yourself. And I think it starts when you become a mother. We have people that, teach you how to care for your baby, but there's nobody coming in and say, you need to care for yourself.
This is how you care for yourself also. Yeah.
How do you want this motherhood journey to be for you? Nobody comes in and starts asking us those kind of questions and showing us that it's normal and it's supposed to be the way to embrace, motherhood or to think about motherhood.
Exactly. It's quite the opposite, right? They tell you how much you lose yourself into motherhood or how much you're not going to sleep and how much you're not going to get to have any time for yourself. Like that's the narrative that we kind of hear becoming a mom, especially first time. It's like, well, you're never going to sleep again. You're never going to have time to eat. You're never going to do this and you're never going to do that. Like that becomes the expectation of like, okay, I've just got to get ready to not sleep. Like I now have this conflicted feeling of I love this child that I just birthed, but God, like, am I never gonna have a moment to breathe? And then you almost feel like you said guilty because no one came in and showed you like, no, you should rest at this time and you need to do this. And it's so loaded where it's like you're almost seen as like not a good mom if you have some help, if you have some way of like having an outlet. And why do we think that way? Like, why do we even have that mentality that if I got help then, or if someone is helping me, or if I have an outlet, or if I have support, then I'm not as good as of a mom who had to kind of struggle it out.
I think it's the collective conscious, I think it's the image currently that everyone is holding. If you're not really present, if you're not, do the job 100, on your own, it's the image, the perception, but it's a collective image. So it's a collective consciousness. So if we start by noticing, by realizing that it's not the way it's supposed to go and start talking about it, sharing stories, we will start to change the narrative for future generation, for current mothers. So that's so important to talk about those things because this has to change. And it's very, very strange because we all know that it's, we need a village to raise a child. So why suddenly we just need the mother?
Just the mother.
Just the mother.
Yeah, everything is.
If dad is around, that's great, but it's done, it's your responsibility and it's only down onto you. But what about this, proverb that says that, we need a village to raise a child? That is true. Why? Because a child doesn't just learn from us, because we can't be everyone. We can't be, the little sister or brother. We can't be, the 2 years old friends. So they learn through all their interactions. And something that you want them probably to expose, I don't know, I just take an example, but if you want to expose them to music or a new language, it's something sometimes you can't provide. So
you need some help and some support.
Yes,
exactly.
Sometimes you can't just provide that. It's someone else who will, teach them music or piano lesson, whatever it is. So that's why you need the village. And for whatever reason, we just don't do that. And we have to figure it out all by ourselves.
Yeah. And I want to really acknowledge the fact that every mom's journey is different, right? Every mom has a different experience and a different picture of what their support system looks like. So I wanted you to come on and really speak about what does that look like for a single mother? Like, what are some of the things that we need to look out for to support our fellow single moms or anybody that we see in our community that may be a single mother and we just don't know like that struggle or the things that they need that may be different than what we are currently experiencing?
Yes, single mother is as well something that can be different from a mother to another. In my case, for instance, yes, I am a single mother, but the father is around, he's present. For some other moms, they are single mothers, but there's no, partner around. So that's a difference as well. It's not the same, but and I want to precise because so many, it makes a difference because I know that I grew up in an environment where my dad was not around. So I know what is it to be single mother that way. So no physical presence or emotional presence from the dad and no financial support at all. So this is a different experience that my mom went through. compared to the one that I'm going through now, because financially he's supportive, bless him, and he is present as well a lot in, the children's life. So it's different. But in terms of building your support system, I think it happens to so many mothers that we're not really living nearby our family members. So in my case, I'm French, born in Paris, but my family is in Paris. So when I gave birth here in London, I just, obviously, at the time I was still with my partner. So I had him as a support and me. That's the way it was. And progressively, at first, I didn't ask for help or anything like this. I thought that it's not supposed to happen that way, and I have to do everything on my own. And so it took me I think I started to have someone like a helper and a nanny coming in when I had the second one. But believe me, it was not to have some me time. It was because you still do activities with the first one, and I just couldn't get the second one. So it was still about the children. I had some help raising them, but I didn't have help to take care of myself. Exactly. So I think I just came to that realization how important it is to care for myself. But it was not just the one sudden moment. It took time. But it was this inner voice telling me, this is not the way. You need to, I couldn't grab the idea that having children is all about being tired, is all about, suffering because you're tired and forgetting about yourself. Something inside of me was telling me, no, this is not the way. You have to find the way. And so progressively, I started to listen more to that inner voice. And I just decided to take action. So for me, it was looking for a childcare setting where I can send my child for a couple of hours. I was a stay-at-home mom, so I wanted to be the main carer and raise the children myself. But 24/7 having them was really too much. So I needed that. It's too much. There's no room for me, So I decided to find a childcare setting, and then I started to have some time for myself. Find that time again for myself gave me that idea to just create my own childcare setting to help others, other moms to find.
I love the fact that it came from a place of rest, right? Like you couldn't, like the clarity wasn't there until you were able to find rest. That is very key because a lot of the times we have the answers to problems. A lot of the times, like we as women, we as mothers, we have so many ideas, so many things that we're going to be able to do, but we cannot do them from a place of exhaustion, right? We cannot access the places and the things that we are wanting to do from that place of exhaustion. You have to be able to find rest. You have to be able to say, okay, I need to have time for me. And then I know that those ideas will come. I know that I will give my spirit rest. I know that I will have clarity in my mind and my thoughts, but you can't get to it unless you have that time to really decompress, that time to slow down, that time to really just not have anything to do.
Yes, because you need that time to ask yourself all those questions. And so you need that time to have this connection with your core self and to be able to do that introspection and decide on what you really want. How do you really want that motherhood journey to look like for you?
Yeah. And a lot of times we don't really have an idea of what we want it to look like. We only know what it looked like for our mother or for the women in our community. We don't really have an idea of what it even could look like, right? Sometimes we don't know what we want it to look like because we don't know what's possible. We don't know that we have options. We don't know that other things are possible. Like when we moved abroad and the theme of having a house helper and a nanny, that was foreign. I didn't know that people did that. I was like, is this real? Can I actually have this? I didn't know this was accessible to me. And I felt guilt about it, honestly, at first, because I was like, do I work hard enough to have a house helper? Do I deserve a house helper? Do I deserve someone to help me with these things? And we go through that phase of, I don't deserve it to look like this, or I need to work hard because this is what it looked like for other people. But really just leaning into all the ways that this could look and just knowing like, this is your journey. It's going to look the way that you design it, but you have to figure out what it is you want.
Exactly. And your journey will be different than my journey. And as long as you feel, happy and you do things that make you feel whole and new again, that's, great. Just do
Yeah.
that. Don't,
Yeah.
because people tend to really look at what the neighbor is doing. And so if, I'm saying the neighbor just to, it's more about everyone. Like, so I know, but they're doing it this way. Yeah, but I want to do it a different way because that's the way that works for me.
And there's always a lot of like tension. Whenever you try to do something differently, you're going to feel some resistance. You're going to feel some pushback. But if you can get to the other side of that, if you can get to the side of that where you're like, I'm doing this because I need it. I'm doing this because I need the rejuvenation. I'm doing this because I just want to feel good about me again. Like I just want to feel good about being a mom. I don't want this to feel so burdensome because I believe it could be amazing. It's a beautiful journey, right? It's complex, right? There's a lot of complexities, but it's a beautiful journey.
It's,
And we can get to that place of, I can see the beauty in this, but sometimes we need that from a place of, I'm rested and I understand like the complexities of it. I can see it.
yes. And I agree with you because it's a journey that will, challenge, you. So it's growth here. And I loved it for that because I've become someone different, but a better person. And that's what I've loved about my role as a mother. But I know,
Yes, I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to say that I absolutely relate to what you said. We just don't know. And what we're doing today is helping others to kind of rise in consciousness, to have more awareness of how they can experience their own motherhood journey.
Yeah, like, and just back to what you were saying about the growth in motherhood, just becoming like this new person because we become better, right? I'm a lot more patient now. I'm more tolerant. Like, I really can calm myself now. I know that I need to be calm in order to get them calm. Like I've learned so much through motherhood. And now I do feel like being a mom has made me a really good person. I'm very in tune with the way I respond to people. I'm very in tune with how I look at situations. And that started with me becoming a mom, like that it developed into me becoming a therapist also. But still, motherhood, I feel like was always that foundation because now I'm responsible for how somebody turns out. Like I am solely responsible. It is my responsibility. If I mess up, it's on me. Like I need to figure out how to make sure this child is healthy, how to make sure this child is happy, how to make sure this child has a good life, right? And let's talk about that for a moment of like, okay, we know we need to have this rest. We know we need to have this rejuvenation, but what does it do for our children? What have you seen it do for the children?
So we are models, we are their models. And when you have those moments to yourself where you just feel so much, lighter or happier, when you come back to your role as a mother, they notice it and they benefit from it tremendously because you feel good. That will start to create another experience. You start to be more attentive or more in the present, with your kids because you are feeling great, So the more you feel good, the more you feel great, you are just in those positive vibrations and everyone around you, just not the kids, but if you have a partner as well, everybody benefits from, the new you because you just had your, I don't know, hour of rejuvenation by doing whatever, some exercise or whatever it is. It just changes the whole dynamic.
So we hear all the time, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So that rejuvenation is like when you're pouring back into yourself. And when you pour back into yourself and you're able to rejuvenate, it just overflows. It's like a cup overflowing. And when you're overflowing, it falls onto your children or your partner or whoever else is in your life. Because like you said, they can see that. They see, wow, like, mom is really happy and mom is really just she's not stressed out, right? Because when we're stressed out, when we're like worked up, that comes out, right? We come out screaming or yelling or fussing or whatever, and just having a reaction instead of being centered enough to say, okay, let me think about how I want to respond to this situation. Let me think about what's needed from this, just what I need to do right now, opposed to just being reactive from a place of, I haven't had enough sleep. I haven't had enough time to do the things that I need to do for myself. So now I just don't feel like I can respond in a way that's beneficial to my kids. And now I need to apologize for this, or now I need to go reconcile for this because I don't feel like I have enough in me. But when we get to that point of rejuvenation, it's like that overflow.
I love this example, what you just said, the overflow. And I absolutely agree with you. Yes, you are definitely more in control of your emotions when you're just a rejuvenated mother, because you just have the energy, to just be more in control of the situation, and you just have more patience as well. So we all know what it is when we're too tired, or we are exhausted. We lose it because we're just not capable of controlling our emotions. They control us at that moment.
Exactly.
So you can avoid that when you just take time for yourself and do the thing that you love to do.
Yeah. Now, I know we have listeners from different parts of the world. So where we are over here on this side of the world, and nannies and house helpers are more of a normal thing. I know we have some listeners on the other side of the world where that's not really something that is easily accessible as it is over here. So what are some other tips that we could give for moms who are struggling to find that time for self-care, find that time for rejuvenation and rest? Like, what are some things that they could do if they can afford a house helper or something like that?
I think the best way to go is to just want it, because as soon as you have a desire to have more time for yourself, just the desire, and to entertain that idea in your mind and start to see yourself, not always with them, but having some time for yourself. Let's take an example. You just dream of doing, I don't know, some yoga classes, let's say, but you don't have someone, to help or to care for your child at that time, or you don't have the money, whatever it is. Just for now, entertain the idea in your mind. As soon as you start doing that, you will start to attract to you ideas, solutions, whatever you need to make that happen. And I think too often we just don't even think about it, because we think that we can't have that. And that's part of the programming as well. We're not used to think differently. We always, refer to what we see, to the appearances. And I think when you are in this situation where you can't afford a nanny, you can't afford, someone to help out, a babysitter, for instance, you have to start there. You have to start by just desiring that and entertaining the idea in your mind. So you have to feel it, to get emotionally involved with that idea. It means to feel it, like, oh, how does it feel, to be in that yoga class, let's say. Oh, I feel happy, I feel, more calm, whatever, is the emotion, you feel it, and you stop there. Next day, you do it again and again and again. And they have to believe this, because it's really true. The solution will come.
Yes, I love that you mentioned that, because it's something that I use often in the therapy and the coaching world. Is like that way we picture something, the way we visualize it, it triggers our brain to start looking for evidence, right? It triggers our brain to start to prove it, right? So if we start saying and that we desire a break or a time where we don't have our children all the time, or somewhere for our children to be safe while we go and feel rejuvenated, like if we just begin to start visualizing that and picturing it and understanding the way that it would change our lives, like if that continuously is something in your mind, you'll start to find evidence. Like you'll start to see little play dates where you can go, or little routines where you can maybe do a mom swap, where one mom gets to watch the kids and then other moms go out, right? You'll find answers to solutions, right? When we start picturing what we want and visualizing it, and visualizing the way that it will change us and the way that it will change our circumstances and situation, like you will find the answer. So I love that that was the answer you had. That is amazing, because a lot of times I think we feel like it's this big thing where if we can't do something right now, then there's no hope for us. But just visualizing it and just picturing it,
it absolutely works. So you don't have to know the how, you just see the end result. That's it.
I love it. I love that so much. I also saw, I think on your Instagram that you do dance classes. Is it with moms or with mommies and kids? Well, tell me about that.
So I used to do dance
Okay.
classes with mothers. They had the baby, in the sling for a charity, but they're just doing it the
Mm-hmm.
way that it's for sometimes it's just for a term, and because that's what the community at the time would like
Mm-hmm.
to have or experience. So I did that. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely a dance teacher, and it's not something that I do on a regular basis, let's say. It's more whenever there is a need and I feel
Mm-hmm.
that I'm up to it. Then for a
Mm-hmm.
term or for 2 terms, I'm just
Yeah.
teaching. But yes, I absolutely love to dance and I do that on a regular basis. And it has been
Okay.
therapy for me, dancing, even just at home.
Yeah. Well, tell me, like, and I love that because I often like encourage people to find a physical or a somatic way of expressing themselves. So I want to know, like, how have you seen that work with the mom when you were working with moms and the babies? Have you seen that have changes in your dancers' lives, like in the mothers that you worked with? How has dancing impact their overall emotional well-being?
So they were just so happy to be here. They were, so happy and so grateful as well. So when they were, coming back to class, you could see that, they've been practicing, and it was
Mm-hmm.
something that was a bit of a change in their daily routine. And that's excitement, something different, something that you enjoy. And so you could just see how happier they were. And that's the reward.
Yeah, I love that. So even if like you can't dance, even if you're listening, you're like, well, I'm not a great dancer, but still just having something to look forward to that
Mm.
makes you happy, or just having like that outlet that was like really important and just really like a good way to find community, to find other moms that, can relate to some of the things that you're going through. Some of the moms can help you like visualize some goals you have, like just that community, and then just having like something else to do, like I said, break out of that routine. That's a good thing to look for if you're looking in your community, looking for other ways. Like those are some options to look into also.
Yeah, it's great. And we've been doing that for a couple of months. And I know that, mothers were just feeling like, wow, this is just amazing to just, learn something new as well.
Mm-hmm.
For them,
Exactly. And they
some of
got to
them,
have their babies with them, right? They had the babies. I was watching a video. I was like, this is really cool.
the babies were really tiny, so it's really the time
Uh,
where you can't do much,
mm-hmm.
at when they're very, very young. So the
Mm-hmm.
idea of doing something for you with the baby, because most of the time the babies are just sleeping, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you have that time, and even when they're not sleeping, they're just like looking at me in the sling, but they're very quiet. So it's another
Mm-hmm.
way, of course, to do something
Mm-hmm.
for yourself with the baby, if that's what you
Yeah,
want to
that's
do.
amazing. I love that. That is so cool.
Thank you.
Well, we have a little bit of time left. I want you to kind of just tell people about your book. I know you're an author. Just kind of give people a quick tip of something that you feel is important for them to take away with them today, and then how to find your book and how to find you.
Yes, I just want to remind everyone that mother journey looks different from a mother to another. And it's just about to figure out what it is for you, what you really want it to be for you. And I just want to encourage to listen as well to your intuition, because when you do that, you know what is right for you. And it's great to look for support, to ask questions, but just be careful, because lots of people will tell you what it should be. And it's your own decision, your own experience, and you welcome all the ideas and thoughts about how you should do this or should do that. But at the end of the day, it's your journey, and just make it the way you want.
I love that. It's your journey. Follow your intuition.
Yes.
Really look inward. Look into yourself and really figure out, is this something that I want, right? Or is this something that others have told me I need to have? So I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on with us. Tell the people how
Thank
they can
you.
find you.
So they can find me at tessiawatson.com. This is my website. And the book Rejuvenated Moms Make Happy Kids is on Amazon.
All right. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Andrea, for having me today. Thank you.
That's all for today, and I hope that you're feeling inspired to navigate your shifts with grace and authenticity. If you enjoyed this episode, I want you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a mom who may just need a little support and encouragement. Don't forget to connect with us on social media. We are on Instagram and Facebook at Momship Mastery, and those links are also in the show notes. Before we go, here's my little reminder. You are an incredible mom, and you have the power to nurture your inner well-being and create meaningful connections and relationships. Embrace the journey, cherish the moments, and continue to thrive in your momship journey. Until next time.